My dear students, welcome back to our channel. Students, in this video I am explaining Telangana Intermediate First Semester. Subject Economics. Part A. Long questions, 10 marks. Let's start quick revision. First important question is 1. What are the various methods of calculating national income? Explain them. Unit 7. National income, NI, is the total value of all goods and services produced by a country's economy in a specific period, usually a year. There are three main methods to calculate national income. 1. Production method or output method. This method calculates national income by adding the value of goods and services produced in the country. It focuses on the value added at each step of production. Example, imagine India produces rice, tea, and cloth. The value added at each step, example, farmer growing rice, tea leaves being processed, cloth being woven, is added to get the total value of goods and services produced. Formula. National income is equal to value of output value of intermediate goods. This helps avoid counting the same thing twice. 2. Income method. This method calculates national income by adding all the incomes earned in the production of goods and services. These incomes include wages, rent, interest, and profits. Example, if a person works in a factory, they earn a wage. If someone rents their house, they earn rent. All the wages, rent, profits from businesses, and interest earned in the country are added to find the national income. Formula. National income is equal to wages plus rent plus interest plus profits. 2. Expenditure method. This method calculates national income by adding up all the spending on goods and services in the economy. It includes consumption, investment, government spending, and net exports, exports minus imports. Example. If people buy goods like food and clothes, that's consumption. If businesses invest in new machines, that's investment. If the government spends on infrastructure like roads and schools, that's government spending. Net exports are calculated by subtracting imports from exports. Formula. National income is equal to consumption plus investment plus government spending plus exports, imports. In simple terms, these methods help measure how much money is flowing in the economy in terms of production, income, and spending. Next important question is 3. Explain the meaning of perfect competition. Illustrate the mechanism of price determination under perfect competition. Perfect competition is a market structure where there are many buyers and sellers, and no single seller can influence the price of goods. It is an idealized form of competition, which is rare in real life but helps to understand how markets work. In perfect competition. 1. Many buyers and sellers. There are so many producers and consumers that no one can control the market price. 2. Homogeneous products. All products sold are identical, meaning there is no difference between goods sold by different sellers. 3. Free entry and exit. Anyone can enter or leave the market freely without any barriers. 4. Perfect information. All buyers and sellers know everything about the prices and quality of goods. 5. Price taker. In this market, each seller is a price taker. This means they have to accept the market price, as they cannot influence it. Price determination under perfect competition. In a perfectly competitive market, the price of goods is determined by the forces of demand and supply. The mechanism of price determination is simple. 1. Demand curve. It shows how much consumers are willing to buy at different prices. As the price decreases, the quantity demanded increases. 2. Supply curve. It shows how much producers are willing to supply at different prices. As the price increases, the quantity supplied increases. At the equilibrium point, the quantity demanded by consumers equals the quantity supplied by producers. This point determines the market price. Example. Consider a market for wheat in a village. There are many farmers growing wheat, and many buyers, households, shops need it. If one farmer tries to sell at a higher price, buyers will simply buy from others at the normal market price. The price at which the amount of wheat demanded by buyers equals the amount supplied by farmers is the equilibrium price. If the price is too high, demand will decrease, buyers won't buy much. If the price is too low, supply will decrease, farmers won't want to sell as much. In this way, the forces of supply and demand automatically determine the price in a perfectly competitive market. Next important question is 4. Keynesian theory of income and employment. The Keynesian theory of income and employment was developed by the famous economist John Maynard Keynes. This theory explains how the level of income and employment in an economy is determined, especially in situations of economic downturn or recession. Key concepts of the Keynesian theory. 1. Aggregate demand. AD. It is the total demand for goods and services in an economy. This includes consumption by households, investment by businesses, government spending, and net exports, exports minus imports. 2. Aggregate supply, as it is the total supply of goods and services produced in the economy. 3. Equilibrium level of income and employment. According to Keynes, the level of income and employment is determined where aggregate demand, AD, equals aggregate supply, as. If AD is less than as, there will be unemployment. If AD is more than as, it will lead to inflation. Keynes' view on income and employment. Keynes argued that the economy does not automatically reach full employment, meaning that there can be situations where people are unemployed and the economy is not using its full potential. He believed that government intervention is necessary to boost demand and bring the economy back to full employment. In simple terms, when people or businesses stop spending, total demand falls, and businesses will cut back on production, leading to unemployment. To fix this, the government can spend money on projects like building roads, schools, or hospitals. This increases demand, which encourages businesses to produce more and hire more workers. Example. Imagine a country where the economy is in a recession. People are not spending money, businesses are producing less, and there is high unemployment. According to Keynes, the government should step in and spend on infrastructure, like building bridges or improving public transport. This government spending creates jobs and increases the income of workers. As a result, people now have more money to spend on goods and services, which increases demand. In turn, businesses hire more workers to meet the increased demand, leading to a rise in employment and income. In short, Keynes believed that total demand drives the level of income and employment. If demand is low, the economy faces unemployment, and the government must help by increasing demand through public spending. Next important question is 5. Describe the law of diminishing marginal utility, its limitations and importance. Law of diminishing marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility states that as a person consumes more units of a particular good or service, the additional satisfaction or utility they get from each extra unit decreases. In simple words, the more you consume of something, the less enjoyment or benefit you get from each additional unit. Example. Imagine you are eating pieces of chocolate. The first piece you eat gives you a lot of happiness, but as you continue to eat more pieces, each additional piece gives you less pleasure. By the fifth or sixth piece, you might even start feeling a bit tired of it. This decrease in satisfaction with each extra piece is the diminishing marginal utility. Explanation. First unit, you feel very happy and satisfied after consuming the first piece of chocolate. Second unit, the satisfaction is still high, but a little less than the first piece. Third unit, the enjoyment continues to decrease, and you start feeling full or bored. Nth unit, eventually, you might not enjoy it at all and may even feel uncomfortable. This decrease in satisfaction from consuming additional units is the essence of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Limitations of the law. 1. Not always applicable. In some cases, like a person who is very hungry, each additional unit of food can still provide high utility. The law works less when the need or desire is very strong. 2. Variety in consumption. If there's variety in what you consume, such as eating different types of food, the law may not apply strictly. For example, switching from chocolate to fruit may bring back high satisfaction. 3. External factors. The law may not hold true if external factors like health, emotions, or personal preferences change the enjoyment level. For instance, someone might enjoy watching the same movie repeatedly if they love it. Importance of the law. 1. Consumer behavior. This law helps understand how people make choices in spending their money. They will buy a variety of goods and services to maximize their total satisfaction. 2. Pricing decisions. It explains why the price of goods decreases with increased consumption. For example, in a sale, bulk buying gives less value per unit, but consumers are still attracted to buy more. In conclusion, the law of diminishing marginal utility shows that people's satisfaction from a good decreases as they consume more of it, influencing their buying behavior and consumption choices. Next important question is 6. Critically examine the law of variable proportions. Law of variable proportions. The law of variable proportions, also known as the law of diminishing returns, describes how output changes when one factor of production, like labor, is changed, while others, like capital, are held constant. According to this law, as we increase the quantity of one factor, example, labor, while keeping other factors constant, example, machines or land, the output will initially increase at an increasing rate, then increase at a decreasing rate, and eventually begin to decline. This law is divided into 3 stages. 1. Increasing returns. In the beginning, as more labor is added, the total output increases at an increasing rate. This happens because the new workers can use the existing machines more efficiently. 2. Diminishing returns. After a certain point, as more labor is added, the increase in output starts to slow down. Each new worker contributes less to total production than the previous one, even though they are still increasing total output. 3. Negative returns. If more workers are added beyond a certain point, total output actually starts to decrease. This is because overcrowding occurs, and workers get in each other's way, reducing the overall productivity. Example. Imagine a small factory that makes shoes. Initially, if the factory employs one worker, the output is low because there's not enough manpower. When a second worker is hired, production increases because the workers can help each other. However, after adding more workers, the factory becomes crowded, and the new workers have less space or equipment to use. As a result, each additional worker contributes less to the total output. Eventually, if too many workers are added, the factory becomes so crowded that output starts to fall. Criticisms and limitations of the law. 1. Assumption of fixed factors. The law assumes that only one factor, like labor, is variable, while others, like machinery, remain fixed. In real life, factors of production can often change together. For example, adding more workers might also lead to purchasing more machines. 2. Short-term analysis. The law is often discussed in the short term, where some factors are fixed. In the long term, firms can adjust all factors of production, and the law may not apply. 3. Not always applicable. In some situations, like in industries with advanced technology, the addition of more workers or resources can lead to economies of scale rather than diminishing returns. Importance of the law. 1. Resource allocation. It helps businesses understand how to best allocate their resources. It shows that there is a limit to how much can be gained by increasing just one factor of production. 2. Production planning. The law helps in deciding the optimal number of workers or inputs for maximum efficiency and profit. In conclusion, while the law of variable proportions explains the relationship between input and output in production, it has limitations and assumptions that do not always hold in real-world scenarios. Next important question is 7. Indifference curve analysis. Budget line, Unit 2, V.IMP. Indifference curve analysis, budget line. Indifference curve analysis is a method used to understand how consumers make choices between different combinations of two goods to maximize their satisfaction or utility. The indifference curve shows different combinations of two goods that give the consumer the same level of satisfaction or happiness. The consumer is indifferent between these combinations because they all provide the same utility. Indifference curve. An indifference curve represents all the possible combinations of two goods, example, apples and bananas, that provide the consumer with the same level of satisfaction. Convex shape. Indifference curves are usually convex to the origin, meaning that as you move down along the curve, you are willing to give up fewer units of one good to get more of the other. This is known as the law of diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Budget line. The budget line represents all the combinations of two goods a consumer can afford, given their income and the prices of the goods. It shows the maximum possible combinations of goods a consumer can buy with their limited income. Formula of budget line. Budget line equation, P1 times X plus P2 times Y is equal to I, where P1 is equal to price of good X, P2 is equal to price of good Y, X is equal to quantity of good X, Y is equal to quantity of good Y, I is equal to consumer's income. Example. Imagine you have 100 rupees and you can buy two goods, apples and bananas. If apples cost 10 rupees each and bananas cost 5 rupees each, the budget line will show all possible combinations of apples and bananas you can buy with 100 rupees. If you buy only apples, you can buy 10 apples, 10 rupees times 10 is equal to 100 rupees. If you buy only bananas, you can buy 20 bananas, 5 rupees times 20 is equal to 100 rupees. If you buy some apples and some bananas, the budget line will show all possible combinations of the two goods. Optimal choice, equilibrium. The consumer's optimal choice is where the indifference curve is tangent to the budget line. This point represents the best combination of goods that the consumer can afford and that maximizes their satisfaction. Importance of indifference curve and budget line. 1. Consumer decision-making. It helps understand how consumers make choices between different combinations of goods based on their income and preferences. 2. Market analysis. It is used to analyze demand, consumer preferences, and how changes in income or prices affect consumption. In summary, indifference curves show the consumer's preferences, and the budget line shows what they can afford. The point where these two meet shows the best choice for the consumer. I hope you understand easily each question. All the best, students, for your upcoming exam. For other subject quick revision. Important questions. Previous question papers. And syllabus. Links are available in description. Check out once. Thank you for watching. Like and share this video with your friends.